And here we are for our updated brush tutorial. It's been a while since we've done one of these with our old fellow friend Jadoni, but this time it's the big debut of Courtney Page. She is our national makeup artist for Jentry Kelley Cosmetics. Give her a round of applause. And it's her first time on television, so be nice to her. Anywho, so we're going to go over our new brush style. We went to matte handles and all black hair. So we want to go over some of the new styles that we have, techniques how to use these brushes, and all that jazz. So here we go. Brush number 1. You guys are probably familiar with this brush if you use our stuff. It's one of our best sellers. It's called the Primer and Foundation Brush. This brush is made of synthetic hair. Of course, you want to use brushes made of synthetic hair when you're working with creamy things. Otherwise, brushes made of real hair when you're using cream-based products kind of mats up the brush and all the hair gets stuck together. So this one has a nice little slip to it. Doesn't absorb any of your products like a sponge does. That's why we don't sell sponges. I don't even use sponges anymore after I found out how much of my foundation was getting sucked up into that sponge that I was throwing away at the end of the week. So I don't agree with using sponges. And of course you can always use your fingers, but the benefit to using a brush is that you can first swipe to sheer all of your primer and foundation and then twist to fill in. So any areas like on my face, I have larger pores around my nose or the apples of my cheek or on my chin. And the older I get, I'm starting to get them between my eyebrows now too. So I take the tip of the brush and I twist to fill in. If you have any rosacea or sun damage, you can also use the flat side of this brush just to tap. You can use the back of your hand to get more of the product and then just tap and lay the product on. So I'm going to put this brush right here in front of my face, and that is the Synthetic Hair Primer and Foundation Brush. Okay. Go for it, Courtney.
Second brush would be, it's called the Concealer and Brow Lift Brush. So this one brush actually applies 3 different products in the makeover. So we first use it to apply your under eye concealer. So you would tap in the inner corner up close to the lash line, and then for more lift, you can pull up to the end of the eyebrow.
You look so pretty with these little beauty marks you tried to give yourself. Always having to fix her face.
Did you bronze your neck?
I did today, and I covered it up.
The next 2 products you could use this brush for is you would first wipe it off like on a tissue just to get the concealer out, because the concealer has oil in it. Then you would go in with your brow lift and then your eye base. And then this one is just like a really mini version of the foundation brush.
Okay, next up. And we have 3 versions for this. We've got the powder brush, the clean sweep brush, and I'll let this little one talk about the little one. Don't let her fool you. She's not really 5'6". She's really 4'6", and we have her on a step stool, so we look like the same height. She's a mini-me. So go ahead, tell us about the Kabuki brush, the little one.
So the Kabuki brush can be used a couple different ways. So if you like really full coverage, you can use this option for it. It's just a little bit more compact. This is going to pick up and place more, but it's also perfect travel size like me. So you can just keep it in your makeup bag and then just touch up with your powder throughout the day.
Yeah, you don't have to bring a whole golf club handle like this in your purse. You can take one of those guys. This little guy right here is the Clean Sweep brush. We probably sell more of this one than we do any other brush in our line. This and the foundation brush, I feel like they probably are tied for the top sellers. But everybody likes this one because it feels so soft on your face, so pretty. You can sweep off all the excess makeup that you dropped all over your cheekbones here. But it's actually really good to apply powder a very sheer way. So I called it Clean Sweep because it just kind of sweeps on the powder, but it was originally intended to dust off any drop off while you're working. So it really could be for either one. But the nice fan just brushes it on very sheer. Remember, the more tight packed the brush hairs, like she was saying that one, the more it's going to pick up, the more it's going to place. I think the harder the brush, the more compact the hairs, the harder the application. This just sweeps it on where it looks like you don't even wear any powder. Or we have the traditional boring powder brush. I mean, come on, why would you get this when you can get this? But ultimately, they are the same type brush, but the manufacturer just uses a machine to clamp down the, I think called the ferrule or something like that. I don't know the words. But anyways, they clamp this down, and that's what gives it the fan. And that's what makes it apply it a little bit more sheer. But they technically are the same brush. This one just looks really cool. Next up, there you go.
Flat contour. So this is a brush that you can use to apply your bronzer with. You first want to apply your bronzer on your neck, and then it perfectly places it underneath your cheekbone for just a nice believable contour. So it's just nice and flat, so it doesn't pick up too much, and it also doesn't fan out like a large powder brush would, where you bronze your whole face basically, so you're wearing your bronzer as a powder. So it's called flat contour.
She always gets on to me because I'm really bad at putting bronzer on my neck. So I get to work and she goes,
Preaching to the choir.
dark, light, dark. You might want to add some more. The sheer buffing brush, this could be used for multiple different products. That's why we didn't specifically name it the highlighter brush. But just so you're not mixing your brushes, just to keep everything really clear and simple, we use this one for applying highlighter, okay? Technically, if you're really, really porcelain pale skin tone and you feel like our flat contour brush is putting on the bronzer too heavy, you could use this, but nowadays we really like to keep this for anything that shimmers or highlights. Because the brush has a mix of both goat hair and synthetic hair, it picks up very little of the product and places very little of the product. So unless you have like the Instagram makeover where you really pile on the highlighter really bright, you'd want to use this so it doesn't actually apply too much, okay? So this is what you would use for that. Now we are going to talk about blush.
So a blush brush
Go ahead.
is perfectly sized to where it doesn't over apply the blush on the apples. You only want to apply your blush right on the apples, high up on the cheek. So it's perfectly angled, and then it's not too big so you don't over apply.
Yes, I used to work with a girl who'd use a blush brush like this every day and go all over her face. So try not to use a blush brush with too big of a head. Okay, now let's talk about eyeshadow brushes. I'm going to talk about these and then I'll let Courtney talk about the accessories. So the very first one that we are going to talk about is the large shadow brush. Let me put my hand back here. It's the one that I used first. So after using the brow lift concealer brush to put on the brow lift and the eye base, I then use this guy, the large flat one. I lay it on the edge of my eyeshadow and press it onto the eyelid. So it's really good to apply the eyeshadow by packing it in. It's not really good for the crease because of the shape, but really good to lay on the eyeshadow in the larger areas. Next, I follow up with the blending shadow brush. This is traditionally called the ponytail brush. So it's rounded, it's the same size all the way around, and really good to buff above the eyelid and underneath the brow bone like this. When you start blending and buffing right here, it just kind of smooths and softens the transition from your lid color all the way up towards your brow lift. And then last but not least, we have the crease and corner brush. This little guy right here is more of like a pencil eraser on the end. Really good. If you don't want it to be too sharp and too defined around your liner, you can use this one to more get into the C shape of your eye. Hence the name crease and corner. If you want to chisel up the crease, you can bring it a little bit further in if you want a darker color in here, but we don't like to go too dark in the crease. So these are my basic 3 brushes for eyeshadow. Lid, crease for blending, crease and corner. Okay. Yeah, you can do these. I'm giving you 5. And I'll talk about lip. You do these.
Okay. So the next 4 brushes, we have 3 different options for your liner brush. We have a watercolor liner that you have to add water to the product, otherwise it does nothing. So the original eyeliner brush that we had is called watercolor eyeliner. So it's really thin, it's perfectly flat. That way it can just really deposit the eyeliner up into the lash line called tight lining. We just launched a new version of the watercolor liner brush that is called Art Liner Brush. So same brush, it's very thin, but this one has a little bit more of an angle to it. So you're able to better get what we call a dovetail. So on the outer corner, you can just kind of flick up to get a little bit more of that wing so it gives your eye more lift. But you can also...
I'll hold them side by side while you're talking, because you can see the difference. So you can see if you've used our watercolor liner in the past 6 years since we've been in business, that's probably the brush you have. No, it's not dirty. The new hairstyle is white with little black tips on it too. But I like this one because I've always liked to give myself a dovetail, and it was a little bit more complicated to use this for the dovetail. So I like this guy because I can find my stopping point and then just kind of go down and bring it towards the inner corner of the eye. You can flip it around this way and do the inner corner right here. Just remember, no bottom eyeliner. Okay, now go for the...
Okay, Smokey Eye Smudge Brush is a shadow, or is a brush that can be used to apply any eyeshadow liner. So we're not a fan of bottom eyeliner, but you can lightly take a soft shadow and just smudge it underneath. But you can also use this brush to smudge a little bit of a darker shadow on top to give your liner more of a smoky diffused look. So you can see this brush, it's a little thin, but it's more smudged.
Look further back, there you go. Okay, there you go, perfect. And then now...
Last brush is our angled brow brush. So this brush is made of boar hair. So it picks up and it'll place the perfect amount into your eyebrow so you can get a nice natural fill with your brow. And so it's perfectly angled and it's not too thin, and it's really the perfect width of a brow. So you can just lightly stroke up on little hair-like strokes and then just kind of turn your brush whenever you get to the outer part and it'll just lightly fill it in.
Perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about washing your brushes. How often are you supposed to wash your brushes, Courtney?
Once a year.
That's right, just as often as you wash your panties. That's right.
Give me a good year.
That's when she's had a really good year. This is the Hydrating Brush Cleanser, and we recommend to do it the first Sunday of every month. That way you never get off track. A lot of people don't know to wash their brushes, or they think they're supposed to be using like Dawn dish detergent or human shampoo, but I specifically formulated this to work with brushes. Some people say they get things on YouTube online, and you're getting this from people who aren't makeup artists. They don't really know how to work with professional products. And Dawn dish detergent has antibacterial in it. So does hand soap, alcohol. Any of those things are going to dry out the glue where the hair meets the shaft right here, and you don't want to have hair start breaking off all over your face. We have to use a really strong brush cleanser here in store that we spray, so that way we don't spread Ebola from one client to the next, but it's not something you want to use on your personal brushes. I do not agree with spray brush cleaners unless you just want something to cleanse while you're changing colors. It has alcohol that makes it dry really fast, but overall I don't recommend to do that. It's kind of like taking a sponge bath and never really getting in the shower to bathe yourself and rinse everything out. So with this guy, I had my lovely little guy out there in California who makes this for them paraben free because they all hippies out there, and they get all of the makeup out. As a degreasing agent, I put the same degreasing agent that Dawn has in it too, because it really helps remove some of the foundation and the concealer in the brushes as well. And it smells like peppermint oil, so it smells amazing. It makes your brushes super soft, and it really makes them look and feel like the day that you bought them. So it's pretty amazing after you use this little guy. So if you do it on Sunday evening, they'll be dry for Monday morning whenever you're getting ready for work.
And I like to tell people not to do a full pump because you'll blow through it way too quickly. This guy will last you about a year and a half. So you just do one small pump, wet your brushes just like you wet your hair, and then something Jentry taught me not too long ago was for your foundation and your concealer brush, so your more synthetic brushes that are applying creamy products, it's best to add the soap before you add water, because then when you go to rinse it out, the foundation and concealers and everything just kind of falls out of the brush, so it leaves them stark white.
If you're wondering why I'm digging my armpit, that's the microphone. Speaker 1, 2, breaker 1, 2. But we also have a little baby size right here. So this is in our mini section. If you guys don't know, we have a mini section online where if you're hesitant to buy something full size until you know that you love it, this will probably get you through 2 or 3 washes right here. I keep it in my travel bag in case my travel brushes are real raunchy and nasty. I can clean them up. And then there's a couple more things that we want to talk about. One of them being a sharpener. So I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it 13 million times. And ask me how many times people call into the hotline asking how to twist up our pencil lip liners. They're sharpened. Yeah, you gotta use a pencil sharpener on it. They don't twist up. So I've got a little sharpener here. Even if you use other brands, you have 4 options of sizes. You have the Mega Grande kind, which is like for like a NARS chubby stick lip pencil type size. We've got the number 2 pencil, which is what our lip pencils are made out of. And then there's a couple of other ones if you buy your pencils from a company that have like the micro minis. 2 blades, 4 holes, I like it. Then last but not least, we have a brush case. So this is a brush case if you travel a lot and you want something to lay flat inside of your luggage. I believe it has, is it 12 slots? I think 10 or 12 slots. Some of these can be made into slots. Yeah. And then some of these I can put more than one brush in there as well. But every season we change the color. Right now we're doing the pewter. Next season will be rose gold. And every season we get a new batch and we do a different shade. So these are ever changing. I believe they are $40 empty.
40.
Or we even sell an entire brush set for $150. That one's value is $235. I just did the math on that. And I'm not a mathmatologist, but I'm pretty confident it came out at $235, and we sell them for $150. And now 1, 2, 3. I'm getting good at it. But anyways, that one has 10 brushes. So if you go to the website gentrykelly.com, you can see an image of that. I think I covered everything, all of our tools and stuff and things. Is that everything?
I think so.
Thank you guys for watching, and if you need to watch the brush tutorial on how to wash your brushes, we have one up and we will be updating it soon. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great evening.